You see barcodes everywhere, on snacks, shampoo, and shipping labels, and a quick beep instantly identifies the item. But how can a few black lines do that? Is it just a picture the scanner recognizes, or is something more technical happening? In this segment, we'll break down what's really going on when a barcode gets scanned, from light hitting the stripes to the number that pops up every single time. A barcode isn't random stripes. It's a pattern of black bars and white spaces designed to encode a product ID in a consistent layout. To read that pattern, a scanner sweeps light across the barcode using a laser line or a camera-style light source. When the light hits black bars, they absorb most of it. When it hits white spaces, they bounce it back as light reflection. Inside the scanner, a sensor measures how bright that reflected light is as the beam moves, creating a changing signal over time. Those changes get turned into electrical pulses. Stronger pulses when more light reflects, weaker pulses when the black bars absorb the light. Next, the scanner's decoder translates the pulse pattern into binary code, basically a sequence of ones and zeros based on light and dark. Each digit is represented by a specific arrangement of bars and spaces, so the scanner can separate the stream into chunks that mean numbers. That binary code maps to the same numbers printed under the barcode, giving the final product ID the computer can actually use. So far, we've seen how a scanner uses light reflection to turn a barcode's black and white pattern into electrical pulses, then into binary code and a product ID number. But here's where it gets interesting. That number isn't the product's whole story. It's more like a key. What happens next is how stores instantly pull up the name, price, and other details right at checkout, with almost no delay. Once the barcode is decoded, the product ID is sent from the scanner to a connected computer system, like the checkout terminal. That system performs a database lookup, searching for a matching entry tied to the product ID number it just received. When it finds the match, it can retrieve stored details like the product name and description associated with that barcode entry. It can also pull up the price and sometimes stock level because those details live in the database record linked to the product ID. This lookup happens in real time during checkout, so the moment you scan, the register updates almost instantly with the correct item. Inventory systems use the same product ID and database lookup to track what's selling, what's low, and what needs restocking. Because computers and scanners process electrical pulses so fast, the whole chain, from light reflection to database lookup, usually takes a fraction of a second. So those black and white lines aren't just stripes, they're a barcode built to be read by light. The scanner turns light reflection into electrical pulses, decodes them into binary code, and recovers a product ID. Then the computer uses that ID for a database lookup to fetch the real info, like the name and price. That's why checkout feels instant. The barcode is a fast key, not a tiny label storing everything. You point your phone at a QR code and instantly a website pops up. It feels like the squares are magic, but they're really a clever way to pack information into a tiny grid. How can a simple black and white pattern hold a link, text, or more? And why do QR codes scan so fast? In this segment, we'll break down how a QR code is built and how your camera turns it into an action. A QR code is a 2D matrix barcode made from black and white squares. Each square is a module that represents information. Unlike a one-line barcode, a matrix barcode stores data both vertically and horizontally. That extra direction is why it can hold more. Look at the three big corner squares. Those are position detection patterns, and they tell your phone which way the QR code is rotated. Once the phone finds those position detection markers, the scanner can align the code. That means it knows where the grid starts and ends. Your camera captures the black and white pattern, then the app interprets it as binary data. In simple terms, dark can mean 1, light can mean 0. Next, the scanning software maps the picture onto a clean grid. It straightens the QR code so each module lands in the right cell. After the grid is mapped, the app reads the binary data in the correct order. Then it decodes those bits into real information. Finally, the decoded result tells your phone what to do. A QR code can open a URL, display text, or start another built-in action. So far, we've seen how your phone finds the corner squares, lines up the grid, and converts the black and white modules into binary data. That explains how scanning works. But here's where it gets interesting. What can a QR code actually store, and how does it still scan when it's scratched or partly covered? Next, we'll look at capacity, error correction, and why some codes are static while others are dynamic. A QR code can store up to 7,089 characters depending on what's encoded. That's a lot for a tiny square of modules. To stay readable, QR codes use error correction, specifically Reed-Solomon error correction. It adds extra data so missing pieces can be rebuilt. Because of error correction, a QR code can still work when part is damaged or covered. The scanner reconstructs the missing sections from redundancy. Some QR codes are static versus dynamic. Static QR codes contain fixed data, meaning what's inside the code never changes. Dynamic QR codes usually redirect to a URL that can be updated later. The printed QR code stays the same, but the destination can change. What can they hold? A QR code can store URLs, contact info, or plain text. It's just different kinds of data encoded into the grid. One important warning: QR codes aren't automatically safe. Security risks include malicious links, so you should still check where a scan is sending you. So those tiny squares aren't magic. They're a smart matrix barcode that your phone can line up, read as binary data, and decode into something useful. The corner markers handle orientation, and error correction helps even if the code is scratched. Add in static versus dynamic options, and you get a tool that's fast, flexible, and surprisingly robust. Next time you scan a QR code, you'll know exactly what your camera and software are doing. Raise your right hand in front of a mirror, and your reflection seems to raise its left. Instantly, it feels like the mirror flips left and right. But then why doesn't it flip up and down too? Is the mirror actually doing a sideways swap, or is something else going on? In this segment, we'll break down what the mirror physically does and why your brain reads it like a left-right reversal. First, the physics. Light bounces off a mirror by reflection. It leaves at the same angle it arrived on the other side. Because of that, the mirror doesn't scramble the whole scene. It creates a neat flip in one direction, straight in and out of the mirror. That's a front-to-back reversal, happening along the depth axis. The part of you closest to the mirror appears farthest behind the glass. Think of your nose versus your ears. Your nose is closer to the mirror, so it looks deeper behind the glass. So the mirror's real trick is depth. It swaps what points toward the mirror with what points away, but it doesn't swap left and right. In the mirror's coordinate space, your right hand is still on the right side of your body. The physics never perform a left-right reversal. But from your viewpoint, the image looks like a person facing you. That other person seems to have opposite sides compared to yours. So when your right hand shows up on the left side, it's perspective layered on top of that depth flip. So far, we've seen the mirror's physics is simple. The angle of reflection creates a front-to-back reversal along the depth axis, not a left-right swap. But here's where it gets interesting. Your brain doesn't judge the reflection like a diagram. It treats it like another you standing there. Next, we'll look at the mental move you automatically make to compare yourself to that person without even noticing. When you look at your reflection, you don't think that's me flipped in depth. You think that's someone facing me like a twin. To compare yourself to someone facing you, your brain uses mental rotation. It imagines turning you around to line up with the reflection. That imagined turn is around a vertical axis, like spinning in place. After that spin, your left and right sides trade places in your mind. But top and bottom don't swap during that spin. A turn around a vertical axis keeps your head on top and your feet on bottom. Gravity makes that feel natural. You're used to up staying up, so you don't mentally flip upside down to match a mirror image. Because you don't do an up-down flip, the reflection doesn't feel vertically reversed. Your brain keeps that orientation locked, thanks to gravity. Put it together. The mirror flips depth physically, and your mental rotation turns that into a left-right feeling. The flip is perceptual, not physical. So mirrors don't physically flip left and right. What they actually do is a front-to-back reversal along the depth axis, created by basic reflection. The left-right weirdness shows up because your brain compares the image like it's another person facing you, and you mentally rotate around a vertical axis to make the match. Gravity keeps you from doing an up-down comparison, so top and bottom feel steady. The mirror is simple. Your interpretation is the twist.